Okay, here's another function that you're going to need to know for Algebra 1. It's the absolute value function. It's the function that looks like a V.
Okay, stand by.
They're going down the hallway. They're going.
They are?
They kept walking.
Okay.
Another function that you're going to need to know is the absolute value function. Let's review it real quick. The absolute value function is composed of two linear pieces, two lines. Everyone should remember that the absolute value function looks like a V. A couple of things about it. The axis of symmetry is a line that splits it in half. The vertex is the point where they both come together. In this case, the vertex is 0, 0. The axis of symmetry is x is equal to 0. Notice that both the x and the y intercepts are 0. And if you wanted to find the slope of these two pieces, because this is up 1 over 1, the slope on the right-hand side is positive 1. This one is, if you take a point, down 1 over 1, the slope on the left-hand side is negative 1. That's the standard absolute value function. Now we can move it around, and that's what we're going to talk about next. You can transform that absolute value function. If you take a look at this, a couple of things happen. That b value will move it either left or right. If I have a minus b, that v is moved to the right. And that's what's happening here. So if this b is, say, 2, the absolute value function here in blue is moved to the right 2. If the b value is a negative 2, which would make this a positive 2, this function is moved to the left 2. So this value moves it left or right, and that's what we're talking about here. I can also move it up or down vertically. If the c value is positive, the function is moved up. So here, I take the standard absolute value function, and I add 2 to it. The function is moved up 2. Conversely, if I changed it to a negative 2, the absolute value function is moved down 2. So this moves it, what I like to do is say, this moves it left or right. The c value moves it up or down. We're going to talk about what that a value does next. Key thing, if the a is negative, whatever it is, it flips it. Instead of opening upwards, it would open downwards. So the red function here is literally this. It's the absolute value. Instead of pointing up, it opens down. The a value itself will either make it wider, or I always say narrower, narrower. So if it's a whole number, what it will do, if it's a whole number, say 2, it will make it narrower. If it's 3, even more narrower. If it's a higher number, it gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. If it's a fraction, it takes the standard one and makes it wider. And if I go, that's a half, I go a fourth, it's even more wide. So here it is at the regular function. Here it is at 3. So this is 3x. Notice that it's narrower than x. And if I were to have a fraction, it's wider. So I hope you understand how you can take an absolute value function and transform it. These same transformations work in just about all functions. This moves it left or right. This moves it up or down. This makes it narrower or wider. I hope that helps you understand the absolute value function.